Chumley, the funny guy from Pawn Stars, is now facing a life sentence, leaving fans in shock. Known for his laughter and jokes at the gold and silver pawn shop, Chumley grew up with Corey Harrison in Henderson, Nevada, and they both ended up on the famous TV show. His charm and knack for evaluating items like old video games and sneakers made him a hit. What led to such a drastic turn in Chumley's life? Let's look deeper into what really happened to his life. Chumley's journey from gamer to pawn star. Austin Lee Russell, better known as Chumlee, is a popular American businessman and TV personality from the History Channel show Pawn Stars. The show follows the daily life at the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, where he works. He started at the shop 5 years before the show even began, thanks to his close friendship with Corey Harrison, whose family owns the shop. As the sun dipped below the neon horizon of Las Vegas, casting long shadows across the cluttered aisles of the pawn shop, he stumbled upon a mysterious dust-covered item hidden behind ancient relics, a find that could rewrite history, yet might also unearth secrets best left buried. On the show, he is often the funny guy, always making people laugh, but he's also good at evaluating a variety of items like pinball machines, sports memorabilia, sneakers, toys, and video games. While there have been rumors that he faced serious legal trouble, it's important to look at his full story. He was born on September 8, 1982 in Henderson, Nevada. He got his nickname at age 12 because his face reminded a friend's dad of a walrus character from the cartoon Tennessee Tuxedo. The nickname stuck, and he's been known as Chumlee ever since. As a kid, he became best friends with Corey Harrison. Corey's father, Rick, and grandfather, Richard, opened the pawn shop in 1989, which eventually became the setting for Pawn Stars. He started working there when he was 21, handling tasks like testing merchandise, moving items, and helping with sales. By the time the show began filming in July 2009, he had already been working there for 5 years. On the show, he is often the target of jokes about his intelligence, but he knows his stuff, especially when it comes to pinball machines. An episode called Pinball Wizards shows just how knowledgeable he is, proving he's more than just the funny guy. But his role on the show wasn't the only thing that made him stand out. He became a fan favorite, which allowed him to launch his own business selling items he designed. In 2010, he sold half of his business to Rick Harrison for $155,000. This deal helped the pawn shop manage all the orders for his products, which sold better than those of his fellow cast members. One of his favorite memories on Pawn Stars was meeting Bob Dylan. Dylan signed an album for him, which he says was completely unexpected. In a highlight of his time on the show, he had a memorable encounter with Bob Dylan, which later led to him appearing in Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone music video. It was a brief meeting that turned into something special, as he got the chance to be part of a unique project. Another exciting moment for him was meeting Mick Foley, someone he had admired since childhood. It brought back fond memories, making the experience even more meaningful. One day, someone brought in a mint condition Nintendo Mike Tyson's Punch-Out video game. They wanted $70,000, but the shop could only offer $60,000. He couldn't help but wonder how much the game might be worth now, especially with talk of a Tyson versus Holyfield rematch. These old Nintendo games reminded him of his childhood, where he spent hours playing video games like Super Mario Bros. And Donkey Kong. When it comes to big deals like this, though, Rick, the shop's owner, always has to be sure the numbers make sense. He also recalled a time they passed on a large Pokemon card collection, including several Charizard cards that are now worth a fortune. He wondered if Rick regretted not buying them when they had the chance. Step inside the busy gold and silver pawn shop, the thrill of the deal. But this wasn't their only missed opportunity. Chumlee is often willing to take risks and offer more money, while Rick tends to be more cautious. Rick's careful approach sometimes means losing out on potential profits, but it also helps avoid costly mistakes. The excitement of their work comes from high-stakes deals. When the shop is looking at deals worth $100,000 or more, the pressure and thrill make it even more intense. Even Rick, who usually plays it safe, can be tempted by the possibility of a quick profit on the right deal at the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas. Every day is unpredictable, filled with tough decisions and surprising finds. His time on Pawn Stars has been marked by these unique moments, from Pokemon cards to classic video games, each item offering the possibility of treasure and exciting negotiations. He thought the pandemic would bring prices down, but instead he saw more demand and fewer items available. He mentions that he sold some of his own Pokemon cards too soon during the recession, expecting their value to drop. But that never happened. This shows how tough it can be for collectors to figure out when to buy or sell. He had put in a lot of effort to find those Pokemon cards, looking for the most unique ones he could find. He also talks about how collecting cards in general has made a big comeback. Whether it's sports cards or other types, new releases are often hard to get, and rare premium cards are even harder to find. This scarcity makes collectors even more interested, which drives prices up. Now, card manufacturers are making fewer cards to keep them rare, which boosts their appeal to collectors. One time, a customer brought in a Pokemon card, asking if it was an error card. He confirmed it was. Even though his passion is for collecting, especially Star Wars items, he stays practical. Because of his pawnbroking background, he prefers to invest in modern items that could increase in value over time. Rather than pricey vintage pieces, his approach is to focus on things that are popular with young people today, hoping they will become valuable collectibles in the future. But here's the tricky part. While he stays optimistic about collecting, he knows the market can be unpredictable. He believes that if you understand it well, there's still money to be made. His thoughts are shaped by his personal experiences, his love for collecting, when his role in running a pawn business. He remembers a time when Rick bought dolls for $300. But they turned out to be worth only about $250. He couldn't help but feel a little satisfied with his correct guess, especially since Rick hates losing money on deals. He even praised the dolls' clothing, comparing them to expensive human clothes, only in tiny form. He personally knew the designer behind them after working with Rick and the team for years. He says moments like this don't happen too often, but are part of the job. Each team member brings their own opinions and expertise, which sometimes leads to different views on purchases. In this case, he was right, and it added a bit of humor to the situation. But this wasn't the only mistake Rick made. He also recalls when Rick bought items like old documents or collectibles that turned out to be fake or worth much less than expected. Since then, Rick has learned to verify items carefully before making big investments, which has helped avoid further losses on misjudged purchases. Now see how every choice at the pawn shop matters. The art of pawning. Even with these slip-ups, Chumlee understands that uncertainty and risk are just part of the pawn shop business. Sometimes decisions have to be made quickly because sellers might go somewhere else if they don't get an offer fast. This need for urgency can lead to some risky choices, and not all of them work out. His experiences show how challenging yet rewarding it can be to run a pawn shop, where figuring out value, checking authenticity, and watching market trends are all part of the job. In this unique line of work, success can take different shapes. A longtime pro at the pawn shop shared some of his stories about the ups and downs of dealing with rare and unusual items. One of his biggest mistakes was buying a stand-up bass guitar before the TV show began. It turned out to be a fake, and he had paid a huge sum for it. This error cost him $155,000 because the item was never returned. However, he learned from this experience and got better at making decisions over time. On the flip side, he talked about one of his recent wins, a chair made by the artist, which he bought during one of the show's episodes. He called it both functional and a piece of art, showing how he appreciates items that are useful and beautiful at the same time. He also has a special interest in samurai sword, especially those from the early 1500s. He loves these swords for their history and excellent craftsmanship. Even though these are his favorite items, they often get snapped up by big names like UFC President Dana White, Before he can buy them, he also recalled some missed opportunities like the Chum collection in the Charizard card lot. These items were either too costly or too complex for the shop to buy. But he still finds them very appealing despite the temptation. He chooses not to buy things from the shop for personal use. He stressed the need for self-control and continues to be amazed by the unique items that come through the shop every day. He also talked about how the pawn shop business has shifted, especially during the ongoing pandemic. Foot traffic has dropped, but he pointed out that the core business of pawning items remains strong. People still bring in things to pawn for quick cash, either to cover urgent expenses or deal with financial struggles due to the current economy. However, he hasn't been perfect. He shared past mistakes, like buying fake Rolex watches, and now he's much more careful. He checks with Corey or Rick, his coworkers, before making big purchases, especially late at night. His experience with fake Rolexes is now a lesson for others in the shop, including Corey's younger brother Jake. It's all part of a culture at the shop where learning from past mistakes is key to growing and improving in the end. Even with the challenges of the pandemic and the risks of the pawn business, his time at the pawn shop shows how much learning and adapting are necessary when dealing with such a wide range of interesting and valuable items. He talked about how pawn shops have always played an important role in helping people with their financial needs. He explained that these shops have been reliable places for folks who need quick money solutions. One day, he remembered a young person came in trying to sell an old 16mm film camera. When asked about the strangest customer he ever met, he recalled a night when a woman came to the night service window needing help fast. She tried to pawn something, but then suddenly got really sick, so he quickly called an ambulance. This showed just how unpredictable things can be with customers, especially before the shop became famous and started attracting a wider range of people. Keep reading to find out what comes next in the pawn shop. Tales of overestimated value at the pawn shop. One of the funnier parts of his job, Chumlee shared, is when customers believe their items are worth a lot, even when it's clear they aren't. He remembered a time when Rick was thrilled with a chair he had gotten for the shop, but when asked about a deal that upset Rick the most, he admitted there were just too many mistakes to pick just one. He said that while Rick might get mad at him from time to time, he usually cools down pretty quickly, even after bigger mistakes like accidentally buying fake items. But that wasn't the worst part. He also talked about one of the best purchases he made, a collection of gold coins. However, a memorable buy was a set of Beatles records that was featured on their TV show. He didn't remember the exact price, but guessed it was between $10,000 and $20,000. They sold the whole collection pretty fast and made a good profit. He explained that when they buy things for the show, they have to hold on to them for 30 to 90 days, or sometimes even longer if it's going to be featured in an upcoming episode. This can make it tricky to manage all the stuff, especially when some items might sit around for almost a year. But holding on to things for that long comes with its own stress, especially since prices can go up or down. To deal with this, they've started selling items at their current value instead of waiting too long. He also remembered the biggest item he ever worked with, a real train that used to circle a shopping mall. And while they never ended up buying tanks, they did consider it during a road trip. He also mentioned having fun when he made a guest appearance on the TV show iCarly in May of 2017. Besides his work on Pawn Stars, he took a step into the candy business, opening Chum's Candy on the Boulevard, right across from the pawn shop. He also launched his own video game, Chumlee's Adventure. The quest for Pinky, the game inspired by old Nintendo classics, was made for collectors and even included hidden surprises for skilled players. But starting his candy shop wasn't the hardest part. When talking about his hobbies, he shared that he enjoys playing Pokémon Go because of how it combines real-world exploration with gaming, which keeps him entertained. As for his cameo work, he tries to keep his video messages fun and family-friendly, avoiding promoting products he doesn't know much about. He also adjusts the price of his cameo videos depending on how busy he is, sometimes offering discounts so more fans can afford them. Throughout the conversation, He emphasized how important it is to have good relationships with his fans and the people he works with on Pawn Stars. He highlighted the respect and teamwork he shares with the crew, making sure his role on the show stays solid. Rick Harrison, the smart and experienced owner of the pawn shop, isn't a fan of sweet coffee, but one day he decided to play a little prank on him by serving him coffee loaded with vanilla syrup. The moment Rick took a sip, he spat it out right away and asked for his usual black coffee. Rick knows exactly how he likes his coffee. This joke had everyone laughing, showing how much fun Rick's personality can bring. The playful relationship between Rick and him often leads to moments like these. In fact, he even posted the prank on his candy store's Instagram page on May 24th, 2024, where it quickly caught attention. The video also gave people a look at his weight loss journey after he had bariatric surgery, which helped him get more active and healthier. Let's see what else happens at the pawn shop. Chumley's transformation to wellness and recovery. Chumley's transformation has been impressive. He has kept the weight off and is now living a healthier life. At the same time, the video shows Rick in a good mood, which is nice to see, especially since he has dealt with some tough personal issues in the past, like a legal argument with his mother. Both Rick and he have had their ups and downs, including moments where their fame went to their heads. He, for example, has had some legal troubles before, but seems to be on a better path now. Rick's family faced a deep loss when his son Adam Harrison passed away from a suspected fentanyl overdose in Las Vegas. This tragic event brought attention to the opioid crisis in America. A cause Rick has since spoken about. The loss has brought sympathy from many people, showing just how serious this problem is. The show Pawn Stars, which first aired in 2009, focuses on the Harrison family and their gold and silver pawn shop. Rick took over the business from his father in 1988, and today the shop is a popular tourist spot, drawing thousands of visitors every day. Thanks to the reality show, the shop has grown in fame and brings in much more money each year. The second season aired on December 20th, 2023. You have a stool, but not just any stool, it's Queen Elizabeth's coronation stool. Despite the tragic death of Adam, the New York Post has reported that filming will continue. Laura Hervik, a family representative and a spokesperson for the History Channel, confirmed that Pawn Stars will start filming again in February. The spin-off Pawn Stars Do America began airing new episodes on February 21st. Rick Harrison mentioned he's not interested in buying certain items himself, but knows some people who might be. The loss of Adam, who passed away on January 19th at 39 years old due to a suspected fentanyl overdose, hit the Harrison family hard. Rick has emphasized the importance of addressing the country's fentanyl crisis. The family has requested privacy during this difficult time, while tributes for Adam keep pouring in. One of the show's beloved stars, he has many hobbies. He loves collecting shoes, over 200 pairs, and enjoys sports, playing video games and skateboarding. He's a fan of both punk rock and rap music. His favorite TV shows include Boardwalk Empire, Sons of Anarchy, and Breaking Bad. One of his favorite pastimes is driving his 1986 Buick Regal, which he customized with hydraulic lifters to make the car go up and down. Since 2013, he has also gathered an impressive car collection. Some of his prized cars include a Rolls-Royce Phantom, Maserati Gran Turismo, Cadillac Escalade, and a 1964 Impala SS. He once shared that when it came to shoes, there were so many options it was overwhelming, but he didn't expect to find such detailed craftsmanship in some of them. However, not everything is about fun in collecting for him. He's also shared some of his movie preferences, like his interest in Netflix shows and the 4-hour cut of Justice League. He loves movies with great dialogue, comedies, and anything by Quentin Tarantino, but he occasionally enjoys a good horror movie too. He is also passionate about pinball machines. His favorites include models based on Jurassic Park and an evil-themed machine from his childhood. He reminisced about a pinball machine that used to be at the pawn shop. It was a fun and competitive challenge for the team, but they had to remove it because it was distracting them from work. His journey hasn't always been easy. In September 2013, he decided to make some major lifestyle changes. He started working out 6 days a week, changed his diet, drank more juice, and avoided red meat. In just 1 year, he lost about 160 pounds. The loss of his father to pancreatic cancer inspired these changes. His new, healthier lifestyle even allowed him to ride a hovercraft he bought, which had a strict weight limit of 250 pounds. But weight loss was just one part of his story. In January 2019, he found himself back up to 350 pounds. And so he decided to undergo gastric sleeve surgery. By October 2021, he had lost another 160 pounds thanks to the surgery. However, legal troubles have also followed him. In 2016, his house was raided as part of an investigation into sexual assault allegations. Police found drugs, firearms, and evidence of cocaine use. He was charged with 20 felonies, but later, as part of a plea deal, he received probation and counseling. Despite all the challenges, he has remained a beloved figure on Pawn Stars. He's been part of the show since it began in 2009, offering a fun look at the day-to-day operations of the gold and silver pawn shop. His longtime friendship with Corey Bigos Harrison, the pawn shop owner's son, helped him become involved in the business from a young age. But that's not all he's known for. In 2017, he opened Chumley's Candy on the Boulevard, a successful candy shop offering retro treats and novelty items. His shop has received excellent reviews, and he often shares updates on his business and life on social media. In the end, despite all the ups and downs, he seems to be doing well. He has overcome personal struggles, faced legal issues, and still found success in different ventures. From the pawn shop to his candy store, he has shown that he can bounce back from difficult times and keep moving forward. What do you think has been the key to Chumley's resilience through his controversies and successes? Share your thoughts, leave a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more discussions like this.